What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to be talking about why you should never buy a high mileage BMW. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is my 2007 328 XI BMW, and I've been doing a little bit of work on it. I just bought the car intending to flip it. You can see you should also never buy a black car. God, the paint's awful. But I bought this car hoping to be a quick flip, and it has been nothing but trouble. We're gonna go over a lot of this stuff on the drive. I'll just do a quick exterior walk around right now. I just ended up doing the plastic dip on the rims because the rims before were just awful. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna upload that video solely because when I was filming, it was very, very windy outside, and the audio is just horrible, and I really wanted it to be a better video than it was. Now I already filmed it, and obviously the rims are already black, so I can't give you a tutorial on how to plastic dip your rims when they're already plastic dipped. So maybe I'll try and do that. Maybe I'll do a voiceover or something like that. But let's go ahead and take this thing out on the road. We are heading to the shop once again to reset some of the lights that came up, and this thing is going to be listed for sale. This is not blazing hot today. Car does start up on its own power now, and now just jinxing that, I'm gonna go grab the jump box. Okay, jump box secured. This thing's actually been pretty handy. When I first got it, it wasn't working because the battery wasn't the problem in the car, but the thing's really compact. It's about the size of a mobile power bank, I'd say, and it's actually been really useful for this car. Now, the reason we're taking it to this shop today is, as you'll notice, the airbag light came on, and I've already had to go through, if you haven't seen the channel already, this truck has been on a tow truck twice in my 2 or maybe 3 weeks of ownership. The car has completely died and had absolutely no utility. It's been draining the battery. It's got a cracked windshield. I had to fix a window regulator. What else we got? A lot of computer stuff. Like, what I'm going back to the shop right now for is the airbag light, like I just said, and the guy's gonna reset the code for me, but a lot of it's just stuff that I don't have the tools for, which, I mean, obviously a standard OBD code reader could probably clear a lot of the problems I was having if they came up on a, you know, let's say comparable, not comparable, but a car that would be easy to work on, like a Honda or maybe like a Toyota or something Japanese, you know, something that is more or less reliable. And then when something does go wrong, it's usually not that big of a deal, or it's very inexpensive to fix. Obviously, I shouldn't have to explain that, but BMW parts are a lot more expensive than Honda parts. So these cars really aren't something that you want to have as your daily driver. Now, kind of getting into what I wanted to talk about today was why you should never buy a high mileage BMW. Now, the reason that I would say that anyone would buy this car, I would say there's 3 reasons. One would be my scenario, where you're trying to make money on the car. If you can get it for a good enough deal, you know they're worth a few $1,000s, and it's something that is not necessarily sought after, but something that people are willing to pay for because they want a BMW. Now, the second reason somebody will buy this car is this right here, the logo, you know, the brand. You want to have a car that go, oh, I drive this, or you know, I drive a Mercedes, or kind of something like a status symbol, but not having to pay, you know, top dollar for that car. Now, yes, Mercedes and BMW, they have some cheaper options available, but like, I know you can get a C300 base model, you know, no options, obviously, but for like 19 grand, and that's really not that bad for a newer car. But when you get down to that under 10,000 bracket, someone's not trying to spend a lot of money, but they want something, you know, unique, that's not just a Honda Civic or a Hyundai. They want something that's a little cool, a little sportier, and they're willing to, you know, pay the cheaper price, not thinking about the maintenance that goes along with the car. But the third person who would buy a car like this would probably be someone who does not know a lot about cars. Now, I say that from a standpoint of buying it to keep it. You know, if you want this car to last several years, when they start to age, and everything on this car is essentially 143,000 miles old, you know, and that this car lived up north, so I know rust is coming into play. But things like suspension and having to worry about multiple differentials because this car's all-wheel drive, little things, you know, bushings, bearings, things that are used to spin but don't spin anymore, and things that spin when they shouldn't, you know, just very common things people don't really think about as far as maintenance, where, you know, when the steering wheel went out on this car, didn't go out, but the car wouldn't start because it was a ELV steering lock. It's a common problem with these early, you know, 3 Series BMWs. And the column, if the column is to go out because of that, which can happen, and most people fix it, I think the dealer will recommend that you do a rebuild, and that could be a $700 or $800 fix, when, you know, I got it fixed for $58. But if someone's not really knowledgeable on the car and, you know, knows a shop or can find someone to do that cheaply, they're going to end up going to BMW and, you know, forking out $700 for a car that I paid, holy shit, I think I almost pulled out. But paying, you know, $700 for a car that I only paid $2 grand and some change at the end of the day for a repair is not necessarily worth it when it's half the value of the car. So something like that, some kind of high value expense, you know, something that is several $100s or even in the thousands, can make this car not worth it, to where, you know, it may be like where before the person got rid of this car and because they didn't think it was worth fixing, and I'm sure that's what it was. I kind of got lucky. I'm sure that maybe they got that quote from BMW. It's like, hey, it's gonna be, you know, $800 or $900 to fix this, but, you know, their car is only worth this much, and they're thinking about trading up anyways, and the car's got so many miles on it that they might just end up getting rid of it and throwing it up on a insurance auction, saying that it has mechanical issues because they don't necessarily diagnose it. They might have gotten that report from BMW and gone, oh, well, it's not worth fixing, we'll just auction it off and somebody will part it out or whatever. And then obviously somebody comes along like me and fixes the car and then puts it back up for sale, puts it back into circulation until someone, you know, drives this another 1,000 miles and something catastrophic can happen. Now, these cars aren't that bad, and if you can get a decent one, you know, that has good service history, that was well maintained, that you know is a pretty solid car inside and out, undercarriage, you know, clean engine bay, things that people don't really always look at, they are decent little cars, you know, like it feels different than riding in, even with the suspension being as old as it is, it still feels sporty, it still handles decent, it definitely feels comfortable on the road, it's nice and quiet, the exhaust is way too quiet for at least my liking. I like to, you know, hear the car because it makes it a more enjoyable driving experience. But it's a very, very quiet car, very planted. The car actually came with some pretty good options. The car's original retail price, which I'll show you at the end of the video when I'm going through the book and stuff, but the car's original retail price was well over $40,000, and that really really has depreciated now when the, you know, KBB and a few other value sites say that this car is only worth, you know, $3,000 to $5,000. That's a really big depreciation hit on the actual car versus where, you know, like something like a Toyota Tacoma, or, you know, like even some Jeeps, you know, where they might be the same age as this, right in that 2007, 2008 bracket, but you're gonna have to pay 4 or 5 times more. You'll notice that an average 2007 Jeep with almost 100,000 miles on it is going to go for, you know, upwards of 5 digits, not just 4. You're talking over $10,000 for a car like that versus a car like this. Just cars like this that they produce every year kind of take a really hard depreciation hit. Now, when you think about depreciation, it's really easy to explain whether or not a car is going to depreciate, or what's going to make it depreciate less, or what's going to make it depreciate more. Now, when you think about a car that's produced every single year, you know, 3 Series BMWs, 328i's, you see them everywhere. Yes, they may be different, they may be along the years, different body styles. The way a car company works with these models is they will set their thing, so it's a 328, right? They'll have a few different variations of it. You know, they have the M3, they have the 328xi, the all-wheel drive. They have several things, but basically, if there's nothing to kind of differentiate your car, they're making the same car every single year. And then once the new body style comes out, that's when your car takes a really big depreciation hit, because someone wants the newer body style and you're just going to be looked at most of the time. Yes, there are some body styles that are more sought after, but most of the time people are going to want the newer body style, and that's going to make your car worth less. Now, they're producing these cars, you know, they might produce, I don't know if this is right, but let's say a Toyota Camry, there's got to be hundreds of thousands of those produced in a certain year period. And then let's say when they hit 2015 or whatever they change to the newest body style, it kind of just craps out all the other ones. Now, that's not necessarily the best example because they do hold their value. I know someone that just sold a Camry that's worth more than this car, even though it may have, you know, less features. It's more of a reliable car, it's cheaper to fix, people are wanting that car more. But something like this is going to depreciate every single year and be worth less and less and less. When you think about like a Ferrari or a Bentley, something that is still a production vehicle, but it isn't necessarily going to depreciate as much because less of them are produced. They don't change the body styles that often. Most of the time, those cars are well optioned out, and those will have higher resale values. I know with the Porsche, the GT2s and the GT3s, that certain seat spec, the carbon backing on the seats sells for a lot more than the regular ones do. And that's just something to consider. Oh, cop. Can you get a ticket for a cracked windshield? God, this thing is slow. This car has absolutely zero intimidation factor. Like, you don't think this thing, somebody might think this thing's fast, but you can't. You sit at a red light. I'm right now, I'll show you. Ready? Do you hear anything? I mean, yes, I'm used to daily driving a V8, and this is just I think it's an inline six, little, what is it, 3.3 liter? I think it's just a 3 liter, but definitely no sound. And that's something I really like when I'm driving a car. Like, enjoying a car, I would say, is part of hearing it. You know, like, part of enjoying a car is hearing it when you drive down the road, and you definitely do not get that with this kind of car. Now, I think with, you know, a manual transmission, because it is automatic, which I did think that it was a manual, and I bought this car kind of sight unseen, so I didn't know until I actually got it, but it is an automatic, sadly. And I think a manual transmission with some exhaust on this car would actually be a little fun, but, you know, that's money you got to save for repairs and vibrations. Okay, so we are just about at the shop. Now, last time I came here just for this simple code fix, it was, I think, $58, and it was literally like for a minute of using this, you know, $6,000 or $7,000 Autel whatever system. And I don't know what it's going to cost this time, but I guess either way it's better than the $700 repair, but just another thing with BMW ownership. A little compressor. These are actually kind of nice. I just put I had a battery in it, and then we had to do the steering wheel reset. Oh, here you go. So
it's hard for me to keep track of them all, bro. It really is.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of voltage codes. Because you have a dead battery recently.
Yep.
So all that stuff, I'll erase all of this crap. Very likely this one right here, tank venting valve activation. That's the evac code that you were getting.
Okay.
Very likely that's gonna come back on again.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else, bro?
Nope, that's it.
All right, man. Cool, man. Well, hey.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of the day. Coming back and anything else, whatever we can do for you. Cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you, man.
All right, bro. Have a good one. Hold on. Need my number. Oh.
Yeah. Important.
Very important.
I'm gonna go check out this FJ. Oh, we got a little Mustang with the 458 taillights. FJ40?
Yeah.
I think it's sick, man. Land Cruiser, old school. That is killer. No rust.
No rust anywhere.
Is it all original?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang. That is sick, man.
All original.
I'll try. We tried, but almost every single light is gone on the BMW, which is good, which means I can finally take a picture of the dash without hiding anything. That's what I was doing. When I took the listing pictures for the car, I had the wheel, you know, let's see, like that. It's like, oh, it's just the way I parked it. But okay, so the codes are officially done. I was expecting him to charge me something. I don't know if that guy was confused. I was not the guy that worked on it last time, but when I said that I brought it before for the same thing, I guess right when he wrapped it up, he saw, I mean, you saw the guy, I was trying to talk to the camera and stuff, he saw I was filming, but he just kind of let me go. So that was nice. I was expecting to spend another, you know, 50 bucks and bring the grand total of electronical repairs to over $100, but not bad. So 58 bucks paid for both times, I guess. So I'll look at that as a $25 a pop each time, but no engine lights on the car, which means this car can finally go for sale and it can be someone else's German problem. Now, I know we already talked about maintenance on this car, but something I was kind of thinking about was, what about from a, you know, DIY perspective, like someone that likes to work on their own car, so they're only going to have to be buying, you know, the expensive part and not necessarily paying double the cost of that part in labor to fix it. Now, these cars are not designed to be easily fixed. Now, you know, I was talking to that guy while he was running the diagnostic on the car, and we're talking about like where the starter was and like how you have to go through the top of the engine, through the intake manifold, and go all the way down to actually replace and fix the starter. Like, just the way that it's designed, you know, like it's, you ever seen that picture of, you know, a standard suspension concept and then German engineering? Well, yes, that may work a lot better, but it's just 5 or 6 things that are gonna break instead of one. Okay, we are back and it just started raining, so I'm gonna have to be a little bit quick with this. I'm actually kind of happy because I'll wash some of this awful water spots off. But the last thing I want to really show you guys is I want to talk about, like I was talking about a little bit earlier, as far as the depreciation on this car. It is a 2007, and somewhere in here it is the original sticker price on this car. 27 highway MPG is not true at all. But let's go down to the options. So we can see the original MSRP right around $34,000. We got an $850 cold weather package, $3,150 premium package, which this stuff is pretty, I mean, you'll find some of this stuff on a modern Honda Civic, but power folding mirrors, I don't know about that one, but garage door opener is auto dimming mirror with compass, so you know, it has the north, south, east, and west little illuminated thing in the actual mirror. But we got power lumbar support, power front seats. The passenger seat actually is automatic, which you really wouldn't expect. I mean, my Hellcat has a you know, the bar to adjust the seat on the bottom, so I thought that was kind of interesting. It says it has a Bluetooth system in it that really only works for calls. I don't know how the technology doesn't stretch, but I could not figure out how to play audio through Bluetooth. But automatic transmission, I guess, was in 2007 was an option, so $1,200. I don't know if this cars came manual all the time. And then we got, what does that even say? Destination charge $700 for a grand total of $40,270. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the exact blue book on this car is. Now, I will put it probably up on the screen right now, but I know it's somewhere in the range of $3,000 to $5,000 private party with the mileage, with everything on it. Now, this car isn't exactly the best example, but it's not the worst. You know, it's got the key. I was gonna say the keys, but I really only have one for the car. It's got the original sticker. It's got all the maintenance records and everything. Oh, it looks like there's actually a Carfax report in here. Okay, so here's a receipt. A new vehicle, limited warranty expiration date. I'm not sure if this was sold in 2010. I can only expect because it's a 2012 end of the warranty, but then $28,988. So we already dropped a good $12,000 in. I mean, if it was 2010, we're talking about 3 years of ownership, which is not terrible, but it's still really, really bad. You know, like the fact that this car used to cost $40,000 back in 2007 and now is worth, you know, it's worth the tires and the parts on the car. We are kind of talking about a lot of the cons of the car. So a few things: the leather is actually in really good shape. This is 143,000 mile leather. The headliner is all good. The power sunroof and everything still works. All the electronics really in the car still work. Like, there's not really anything else that I've found broken. It has a few mechanical issues, obviously, with the vibration and the shake and the rust. Like, you can see if I get under the car a little bit, I'm sure you'll be able to see that the car is not in the best of condition as far as rust goes. But it's really kind of shocking to me how bad this car is depreciated. Now, a good term I like to use when I refer to this car is kind of almost pay to play. You know, you want to drive a BMW, you're going to have to keep up with BMW maintenance. You know, like, obviously if you drive a Honda or a Toyota, there's nothing wrong with that, but those cars are going to require a lot less maintenance. You're going to look like every other car rolling down the road. But if you want to have the, you know, the unique factor of having, you know, a expensive looking car, like most people see a BMW and go, oh, that must be money, or a Mercedes, or, you know, any of those brands that have that kind of status, you're gonna have to pay to play. You know, you're gonna have to keep up with the maintenance and keep up with little things and make sure you drive them. These cars really don't do well in storage, so it's gonna be something that you really need to drive all the time, and when little things go wrong, you're gonna have to be willing to pay for it. For what I actually paid for it, it's been a really solid car. Now, if you could get into the price point where I'm at, which end of the day, I'm gonna reveal everything, but it's just creeping over that $2,000 mark. So we'll be somewhere around there. I'm gonna do the actual full cost analysis once we actually get the thing sold. I'm gonna list it today, so it should be soon-ish, but really, it has been a solid little car, and if you could get in at the price point I did, and maybe save some money to where, you know, someone will probably end up paying upwards of $3,000-$4,000 for this car, I would not. If you could get in at the price point of around $2,000-$2,500 and put, you know, $1,000 in it, put up some new brakes, maybe some new suspension. I know there's something vibrating here. I don't know if it's the actual wheel, like it's something in the suspension assembly, or if it's something as far as the drivetrain in the front, because it's an all-wheel drive car. But if you can actually get that kind of stuff fixed, then it could be a pretty solid car until this thing kind of craps out and you've got your money in it, you've had a comfortable car that looks good, and you're not just driving, you know, a Camry or something like that. So that's pretty much it for my thoughts on the car. I'm gonna wrap it up because it is starting to rain. But if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I'm gonna be posting a lot more videos soon. I'm so close to reaching that cap for monetization. I know you're not gonna get paid right away. YouTube puts you in a review process and it can be an infinite amount of time. But I figure if I start producing content, keep producing content, and actually get decent views and stuff, then YouTube might eventually start paying me. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, watch a few of my other videos, help me get to that 4,000 watch hour goal. We're getting very, very close. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. Oh, and one more quick thing I totally forgot to mention. This car is going to be gone soon. I'm hoping my thumb's not on the mic. Sorry, the gimbal just died sitting over there. But this car is going to be gone. I'm obviously listing it for sale, which means we're going to need something new. I'm going to need to get something else for the channel. So comment something down below. It could be a car, truck, dump truck, fire truck, you know, anything that you guys can think of. Comment down below. And if something gets crazy attention, that just means you guys want to see it. So maybe that'll be what I end up buying next. So comment some ideas down below. Obviously, give this video a thumbs up, and comment what you guys want to see. If you want to see something specific on the channel, I'm more than happy to take suggestions. So subscribe. As always, I'll see you next time. Peace.